Michelle Molitor has been described as enthusiastic, inspiring, and a bit of a rabble-rouser. She instigates new ideas, successful strategies, and more authentic leadership in her clients through her passion as a coach, consultant, and speaker. Working with smart, savvy leaders, Michelle assists her clients to reclaim their time, energy, and purpose. She helps them find their voice, stand in their power, and contribute their genius more authentically to consciously design their thriving career and life. As founder and CEO of Nectar Consulting Incorporated, she brings passion, commitment, and over 22 years experience to her work as a professional certified coach, speaker, organizational development trainer, facilitator, business consultant, and author. As a former workaholic and whirling dervish herself, Michelle is uniquely qualified to help other successful leaders break out of their bad habits of not enough time. With an engaging style and interdisciplinary approach, she assists professionals to work smarter, not harder, to excel and lead their team or organization more effectively. Please help me welcome her with a big round of applause. Here's Michelle Molitor.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Miss Amanda. I appreciate that. Well, I'm really excited to be here today and share some thoughts and ideas and nuggets of wisdom that I've learned along the way on my journey over the last many years. So I could be closer to my son and my parents. Okay, well, why would you give that up? Because I need the money. I said, okay, but what's really important to you? Well, my family is. Okay, then use that as a guide. Use that as a stake in the ground and stand true to the value of your family. Because when you can do that, the opportunities will make themselves known. They will present themselves to you so you can honor those values more clearly. And I kid you not 5 days later after having that conversation with him, he called me up. He's like, man, you know some shit. I'm like, what? What did I do? He's like, you would not believe. I've got not one, not two, but 3 different opportunities where I'm working now for a new job. I said, great. So he interviewed for them, and he got one of those jobs, which more than doubled his salary, and now he's managing like 80 people, and he loves his work. And not 3 days after he started his new position, his mother had a stroke. So he was able to be there for his parents to help her recover and to help manage the family as they move through that really challenging time. So notice how important it is to use those values as a guide to help you break the chains of the bad habits of, well, I have to take care of everybody else. I can't honor my own self in the process. It's really, really important. So when you find yourself getting stuck and struggling, these are a couple questions to ask yourself. Where are your values being ignored? How do you really want to be of contribution with your talents and your gifts? How can you value your talents and your strengths through your work? Those are all really important things to ask yourself. So on your handout, I want you to write down one thing that you've been saying yes to, but hasn't really been honoring your values. So for example, maybe you've been saying yes to watching too much TV and not spending more time with your family. Or maybe you've been saying yes to too much junk food and not really honoring your health. So write down on your worksheet one thing that you have been saying yes to that really hasn't been honoring you. And I'll check back in with you in a minute. So what are some of the values that you want to say yes to? More of, bring more to the forefront. Just shout them out.
Peacefulness.
Peacefulness, thank you.
Family and health.
Family and health, okay?
Love.
Love, yeah, absolutely.
Prayer.
What?
Prayer.
Prayer, thank you.
Kindness.
Kindness.
Sharing.
Sharing. Yeah.
Individuality.
Individuality. Yeah. These are all really important things. So you get to notice, where are those values on my day-to-day list? Are they at the top of the list? Or are they lost somewhere down in the weeds? Because if they're down in the weeds, you're like, what do I need to do differently to raise them up a little higher? Because in the process of honoring your values, you're honoring yourself. And that's what's important here, is honoring yourself. It's really easy to get lost in taking care of everybody else, particularly as women. We're nurturers, right? It's built into our genetics. But if you're not taking care of you and you fall down, then what happens, right? So it's about maintaining good health, well-being. The second key to becoming a great leader is embracing your fears so you can find your voice. How many of you have had that really difficult, life-altering experience? Anybody? Yeah, absolutely. And it's these experiences that we have in our lives that shape us and mold us and how we move through the world. We make decision points about these experiences, good, bad, or indifferent. You know, as a kid, don't put your hand on a hot stove. Ow, burns, right? So now that's back in your programming back there. Don't put your hand on a hot stove. Keeping you safe, right? But then there are other things that we go through. Well, Sarah told me my dress was ugly, so, I shouldn't wear that color ever, because I don't want to be ugly. And they start from the time we're itty bitty to adults. I don't care how old you are, things happen and we make decisions about how to move through the world safely because of those decisions. Now, the little known truth though is that your greatest source of pain is actually your greatest source of power. You might wonder, well, how is that possible? But it's when you can overcome those painful things and find new ways of operating that empower you and empower others. That's a gift. That allows you to share your brilliance and your talents in the world in your unique way. Because every single one of you are unique. You've had your own life experiences, your own paths that have gotten you to this very moment right now, right? So being able to look those fears in the face and move through them is really important. See, what happens though is that these decision points, these stumblings in our lives create choices. And then those choices, those decisions get locked into the back of our brain, back here, and guide us, helping us steer clear of the different potholes and things along our path. Now, this is the clever work of your amygdala. It's your lizard brain, and it's that fight or flight or freeze mechanism that we all have. Now, your lizard brain originally was put into place to help protect you from the saber-toothed tigers, right? Well, no one has told your amygdala that the saber-toothed tigers aren't really out there anymore. So, your amygdala, or Amy, as one of my clients likes to call it, Amy, the amygdala, your lizard brain, she doesn't know the difference when you get all amped up about something. And so you have to start becoming more conscious of what are those fears that are getting triggered. Really look them in the eye like, is that really serving me? Or can I make a new conscious choice today based on where I stand as an adult versus maybe when you were as a child? So it's noticing what those are and looking at them and discerning what's needed now to help me be more successful, to be a better leader, to be a better communicator, and getting clear on what your own trigger points are. This is one of my favorite quotes from Eleanor Roosevelt. You gain every strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you stop and look fear in the face. You must do the thing you think you cannot do. Because Amy just wants to protect you. That's her job. But the more she protects you, the more she keeps you inside of that comfort zone, the walls and walls of that comfort zone will get smaller and smaller and smaller until it gets really uncomfortable in there. And oftentimes, that's when you hit that brick wall. And it's your spirit, your soul's way of saying, no, we need you to play a bigger game. There's something more for you to be doing. And you might not have any idea what that looks like, but you have to change. You have to shift and get out of that comfort zone, which ironically becomes pretty uncomfortable after a while, so that you can stretch and grow and expand your edges to have more of what you want in life and share more of the gifts that you have to share. Share your voice. Share your power. And power not as an ego or force, but just like, right? And that comes across in so many different ways. So, how many of you have ever tried stretching beyond the edges of your comfort zone, only to have that little voice in your head go, well, what are you doing? What are you thinking? Well, you can't do that. Or what? What if? What if you succeed? Or what if you fail? Or what if someone judges you? Or what if they make fun of you? Or what if you're not good enough or smart enough or tall enough or short enough or whatever enough? We all have that voice in our head. How many of you run by that voice sometimes? Anybody? Yeah. It's a constant challenge to make notice of, is that me talking to me? Or is that Amy talking to me? Right? So you have to decide, who do you want to be in charge? Driving you around town, right? That's the tricky part. It's constantly becoming aware of what are the fears that are holding you back, and how do you then convert them into something that's more powerful for you? You see, when you can discover that Amy is keeping you small, then you have more choice. We're always at choice, but we forget. She's really good at clouding over our eyes about what we're at choice about. So here's a little fun example. So what's this? It's a water bottle, right? Like this one. What else is it? What else can it be? Half empty, half full. I'm a half full kind of girl myself. What else could it be though? What else could you do with this? Could be a vase. What? You could throw it on someone, right? It could be a projectile unit, right? What else? Water the plants. What? Fill it up, right? So many different perspectives about what this could be, filled with possibility, right? My neighbor happens to think that water bottles are cat deterrents, and she has them all over her yard. I don't really understand that, because the cats are still there. I don't know. To each their own, right? But finding a new perspective is a great way of getting you unstuck and moving forward again, you see. It's having a little conversation with yourself. I'm feeling kind of stuck. Okay, great. What do you want to do with that? Well, I can stay stuck, or I can change a perspective and get unstuck. What would you like? I think I'd like to get unstuck. Great. What's that going to take? Okay. Maybe I need to do this or do that. So you too can have a little coach in your head, like I have. Mine's developed over a long time, but everybody has a coach in their head, right? It's all about choosing. What's going to move me forward so that I can step back into my power and let my voice be heard? Because that's what makes a great leader, a great manager, a great colleague, someone who's willing to share their truth, not from a place of, oh, I'm all that and I know all the answers. No, it's not that at all. It's more about that quiet, calm confidence that comes when you just know what you know and you're willing to share it from a place of peace and calm, love and compassion versus, I have to be in control or I have to overpower somebody, right? We've all worked with people like that probably, right? They're trying to bring the hammer down. It's not really comfortable. And there are whole organizations that are set up and structured that way. So you get to decide based on your values, based on the fears that you're moving beyond, what kind of organization do you want to work for or work with? What's going to be aligned with who you authentically are versus who Amy is trying to tell you you need to be in order to get the job? Because if you go to work for somebody that's not aligned with your core values, I can tell you it's not going to work very well, and you're not going to be very happy. I had to learn the hard way. Because one day I woke up and I didn't give a crap about building websites anymore. Because I realized it had nothing to do with my core values about making a difference and helping people. Not the kind of websites I was building. These were multi-million-dollar sites, right? And so I realized the hard way that when your values are out of alignment with your work, that's where the stress and the tension and the dis-ease shows up, which then can very quickly turn into disease, cold, flus, chronic ulcers, depression, or worse. This is my dear friend Sharon. She's a 5-time cancer survivor. Now, how do you not let cancer take you down when you've had it 5 times? How do you keep a positive attitude? Well, it's a constant choosing and it's constant mindfulness. And she's been able to take her battles with cancer and turn it into a gift for others. She's created a cancer coach training program. So she trains other people how to be cancer coaches, helping people walk along their journey with cancer in one way, shape, or another. It's a really beautiful gift. And you all have those gifts inside of you, but they just look different and unique to you based on your challenges and your journey. So, where is fear and stress holding you back? On your handout, I want you to write down maybe what's one of the biggest fears that come up for you that's holding you back. And what's a different perspective that you might be able to take on it? One that's more empowering. What'd you discover? What are some of the fears that are holding you back? Who wants to share? Yeah?
Not succeeding.
Not succeeding. Very popular one. Yes.
My own way.
In your own way. Oh, yes. I have one of those. I had to do it my way.
Not my way, just I don't know. Blowing the opportunities that without the confidence and without selling myself short.
Yeah.
Better than that, and I could have, if I would have, the coulda, woulda, shoulda.
The coulda, woulda, shoulda. Another very popular internal conversation. Thank you. What are some other fears that came up for you guys?
Loss of financial security.
Yeah. Very popular one. Very real one. Yeah. What else?
Lack of knowledge.
Lack of knowledge. Okay. Yeah. There's all the things that we know, and there are the things that we know that we don't know, and then there's a whole big massive chunk of the pie that we don't even know that we don't even know. So if you can accept that there's always going to be someone who's smarter than you and someone who's not quite as smart as you, you'll be okay. Right? But figuring out what your sweet spot is with the wisdom and the knowledge and the expertise that you already have. Yeah. Any other fears? Yeah.
A fear of appearing too assertive.
A fear of appearing too assertive. Ah, yeah. I don't want to be too big, too bold, too loud, too bright. Someone might get offended, or they might not like me, or they'll put me in a box, or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, I totally get it. I was too loud as a child. So, I don't want to be too crazy, right? I might get in trouble, and then people won't like me, and then they'll take themselves away, and then I won't be loved, and then, oh, there will I be, right? So it's so easy for those fears to take us down the rabbit hole of what's working and what's not working for ourselves. So when you can catch them, then you can maybe stand on the edge of the rabbit hole looking down like, do I really want to go down there today? Maybe not. And finding a new conversation to have with yourself so you don't go down the rabbit hole. And you can come back to that place where your voice is more strong and more confident. You can stand in your power and share your perspectives with people. Because you all have a lot of value to give, have a lot of wisdom that only you have. So remembering that when the chittering Amy brain starts going, well, you don't know enough, and you're not good enough, and you're not blah, 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 right? I always tell my clients, just thank her for sharing and invite her to go back outside, right? So, the third key that I want you to know is how to understand your strengths so you can really tap into your genius. Your strengths are those things that are so inherent to you, it's like a fish in water. You just don't even realize that it's there. And we often take them for granted and poo-poo them or disregard them because, well, everybody can do that, right? Well, no, they can't. So you have to figure out what those strengths are. And there's different ways that you can do that, right? You can ask your family and friends, what am I really good at? What is the thing that you can always count on me for, right? I discovered I have an inherent strength that I call dot connecting. So I'm like, oh, you need to meet Amanda because she's got the and that's right. And I'm always bringing people together. And so I found a way through my work to use that as a strength, right? When I reinvented my career as a coach, I discovered I have another hidden strength called turning on light bulbs. See, I see really clearly your skills and your gifts and your talents. It's like the nose on your face to me. Like, well, can't everybody see that? No, I can't. So my job is just to hold up a mirror and help you see what's naturally there for you and help you step into it more fully. Moving the fears aside so you can do that, right? Because when you can do that, when you can step into your strengths more fully, then it creates that calm confidence that washes over you and people are like, I just want to be near her. She just seems so calm and happy all the time, right? You know, who knew that a young girl would be able to ignite the world just by sharing her voice, despite being shot in the head? That's will. Yeah, it's really amazing. So my want for each of you is to find your voice, to step into it more clearly, because who knows what movement you'll start? Who knows what difference you will make in the lives of millions of other people? Like dropping a pebble in the pond. The ripples go out far beyond you can ever see or imagine. So the more you can understand yourself, the more you can share that with others. Because otherwise, the status quo remains. And we get caught in that. And we get caught in the numbness of the routine and going and going and going until something or someone snaps us out of it. Or you hit a brick wall, or you lose your job, or your husband leaves, or whatever, right? But the trick is to learn from these things and become stronger and better and more powerful from them. So then you can translate those back into gifts for other people. So where might you be underutilizing some of your gifts, some of your strengths? On your handout, I want you to write down where you might be underutilizing a strength, and then turn to a partner and share one strength that you really want to bring more to the surface. more to your work and how that might look? What needs to come out of you more?
Confidence.
Confidence. Okay, great. That's another strength. Initiative. Yeah. What else?
I put down organizing myself. I have it. I know how to do it. I just need to do it.
Yeah. Absolutely. You just got to do more of the things we know how to do. Right. What are some other strengths?
Say identifying talent.
Identifying talent, right. And so what's it costing you to not be fully utilizing these strengths? Stress. Yeah. What else?
Lost opportunities, maybe.
Lost opportunities. Yeah. Happiness. Peace of mind.
A fresh start, you're supposed to get
A fresh start when you, yeah, uh-huh. Yeah. You see, when you can step into your strengths more fully, it creates a greater groundedness and centeredness. And when you combine that strength with your core values, with your passions, that's what I like to call the sweet spot. That's that place where we're operating in the zone, where time disappears and you're just really having fun. So who would like to have more fun and get paid for it? Yeah, that's where I'm pointing you towards. To find that sweet spot for yourself. Because when you can stand in that place and operate from that place and lead from that place, you're inherently going to have more fun. You're going to be more balanced and more calm. But the ripple effect of that is people lean in like, wow, I want some of that. I'll have what she's having, right? And they'll be inspired by your vision and your mission and be compelled to align with those things with you. Be a member of your tribe in whatever shape or form that might look like. Whether it's a friend or a colleague or an organization. So it's, as you get more clear about these things, that's what helps amplify your voice as a leader. Without having to speak loudly or be bossy or anything else. It's just, oh wow. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I might step on some toes here, so if there's
Oh, step away. I love it.
there's not some of the employers out there in the room, but I kind of had this grand vision of it's like, I do believe in myself a lot, and I was like, okay, what's my elevator speech going to be to the different school districts, because I know I can help any one of the school districts, and they're like, one of them's like, go to EdJoin. It's like, so I came all the way down here to tell me to go look for jobs on EdJoin, and then, so it's sort of like, they're like, some of them took our resume and things like that, which is fine, but it's like, the opportunity never presented itself to be like, I believe in this, I want to help these kids, I want to do that. And so I don't know if I was missing something or if I didn't, or if I took, like, they're just like, okay, who's the next one that's in line and stuff like that. It's not like, these are people that are coming to us that are really going to help our school districts. If they don't help our school district, they're going to help another one. And kind of where I'm getting is, everybody does have their strengths, but it seems like, okay, I got Eric's resume and he may stand out, he may not. His personality seems fine, but it's not kind of like, these are some dynamic people out here, and it doesn't feel like I personally had the opportunity to share that with any of them. And is there something maybe I should have done differently, or how you could help everybody because I don't know if everyone had the same feelings that I did, but that's kind of the way I approached it.
Well, the very first thing that pops up in my mind is be more curious with them. Ask more questions. Like, wow, I'm really excited to be here today and to look at these different job opportunities, and I'd like to know more about what you guys have to offer me and how I can bring my expertise to your organization, and engage them in a conversation, because it's really easy to get caught in that passive mode of thank you, right? Especially if you're coming from a place of, oh, I don't have a job, and I get that that's really hard on your self-confidence and your self-esteem. I've been there, right? But you have to overcome that fear and be like, hi, I'm Michelle. Tell me about what's going on at your organization and why I should maybe come work for you, or why you would be lucky enough to have me. Because I bring a whole boatload of really great stuff, and I'd love the opportunity to talk to you about it. And so it's about engaging them, because you got to remember, they've got a whole bunch of people coming in at them, and they might be, oh, my boss told me to be here and pass out some stuff, right? So sometimes you just have to put yourselves in their shoes and like, maybe they don't really want to be here. So you have to overcome the invisible barriers that they're putting up. You're like, I see you in there. I really want to talk to you. Can I take 5 minutes of your time? And asking for permission. And engaging them in a conversation. Do you have a few minutes? Can we talk? Get them to say yes. And as you're talking, and you'll hear more about this from Daniel when he comes in and speaks a little bit. When you're asking people and you want a positive answer, do we have more time to talk? Right? Versus, we don't have time to talk, do we? It's very different. Your body language is a whole nother conversation we can have, right? Yeah. So does that help a little bit?
No, it's good. I just probably wasn't fair to think of it that way.
Well, but you get a do-over. You can go back in there.
Yeah.
Right? I just got some great information, and I'm coming in to talk to you all over again. Right?
I have to say I agree with you. I kind of felt a little bit of that too. Like, oh, application on EdJoin. Oh, okay. Yeah, I could have stayed home and do that.
Yeah, thanks. I drove all the way out here for you to tell me that.
But
Thank you.
exactly what you said, when I found a school district that had a program that I thought I might be interested in, then I asked them, well, tell me about this. And I asked really specific questions, and so that helped me a little bit be glad that I came down here.
And there's a whole particular way that you can formulate your elevator pitch, which again, a whole nother conversation we could have, right? About how to do that positions you and your expertise, but targets their pain points, that targets their challenges that you can help them with, right? And that's all about communication and the energy that you have and that you're bringing to the room. That's part of the thing about your presence as a leader, is knowing yourself enough to stand in your confidence, and to know what your skills and your talents and abilities are and what you're bringing to the table. Not from a place of, hey, check me out, I'm all that, right? No, it's not that. It's just, I just know who I am. And I know the great skills that I can bring to the table, and I'd like to have a conversation with you about that. Which makes all the difference in the world. Because when you think about all the people that are coming to them today, or at any given time, I always say the person with the highest energy wins. So if you're coming in there like, hi, I really like a job, right? Versus, hi, my name's Michelle. I'd really like to talk to you about, how we might be able to work together. Energetically, it has a very different impact. So be mindful of the impact that you're having and how you want to show up and affect the room before you even say a word. Because all of that really, really counts. And the more you can be mindful of that, the more powerful of an impact you're going to have, that's going to leave people with, wow, something different about her. I can't quite put my finger on it, there was something different. So let's talk to her again. Now, I work with a lot of people all over the country who are going through career transition. And there's all these little nuances that they don't tell you about that make a huge, huge difference. And one of the most fundamental things is believing in yourself, confidence in yourself. So then you can walk in and be like, I'm the bright, shiny light bulb and you need me, right? So you can stand out from the crowd. So, as I said, one of the things that I realized when I transformed my career and went from being a creative director and a graphic designer to being a coach was that I have this ability to see people's brilliance and genius. I didn't know that. It took me years to figure it out, like, oh, everybody doesn't see that, right? So it's about you figuring out what your genius is and bringing that up to the surface level, not hiding it out or taking it for granted, and making sure that it's on your resume, it's in your cover letters, and finding the eloquent way to voice that to them. Grammar, that's always a tricky thing. I always leave that to Amanda. She's good with that. But you see, when you're able to move past the Amy conversations of, well, who am I? And I don't know enough, and oh, that's scary. You can tap into more of who you are and believe in yourself and be yourself. Because we don't want you any other way than just exactly who you are and who you aren't. You get to own your strengths, your weaknesses, warts and all, good, bad, pretty, ugly, all of that, right? Because what that does is that makes you more authentic. And people are drawn to authentic leaders. They're the ones that pull you in. And being authentic, you might think, well, if I'm real with people, that might feel vulnerable and maybe a little scary. But being vulnerable is actually an act of courage. It takes a lot of strength to allow yourself to be open-hearted and be real with people. Yeah. Because really, vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change. And I know you all have that within you in one way, shape, or another. So you got to tap into that. What's real for you and what inspires you and moves you. Because when you can do that and find your voice, then you can move mountains. Imagine if Martin Luther King had been too scared to give that speech. Or Rosa Parks hadn't sat on that bus. Or President Obama hadn't been brave enough to throw his hat in the ring. So you gotta dig deep and move through the layers of poop that gets built up on us all over those years, right? We call them the shields. And we put them in there to protect ourselves. But in doing so, you're also keeping your light from shining more brightly and more brilliantly, allowing your talents to come through. So if you're brave enough and courageous enough to stretch beyond the edge of your comfort zone, who knows what difference you can make. So you got to think about, what change do you want to create? What impact do you want to make through your words or your actions or mere presence? Even when you walk in for a job interview, because it all has an impact. Because if not now, when? When are you going to step into that full power? Today is a great day to do that, I always think. And if you don't do it today, well, then you can try again tomorrow. And if today doesn't work very well, well, then you can try again tomorrow. But just as long as you keep trying, because you owe it to yourself, not to anybody else. You owe it to your heart and your mind and your spirit to do that. I love this quote. And the day came when the risk to remain tight in the bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. So every day is an opportunity to blossom and to stand more confidently in who you are and share your voice and your opinions and your ideas and your brilliance with others. But even though it gets scary, even though you might get caught up in that pile of to-dos on your desk, or you might feel like you're running out of time all of the time, or you're caught up in that rut of trying to be perfect, well then I want you to remember the 3 things that we've talked about today. You got to reconnect with your values so you can find your way out from the underneath a pile of overwhelm. Embrace your fears and find your voice so you can share your genius with the world and speak from that place of quiet, calm, understanding, and compassion. And understand your strengths so you can tap into your genius so that you can really move through the world with greater confidence and get past the place of, am I good enough? Am I something enough? Right? Now, I know it's easier said than done sometimes. And how do you see the forest for the trees when you might have all sorts of chaos coming at you and you're trying to find your way through the mouse maze, right? Well, what I know is that making change isn't easy. And we only make change in our lives in the moment that we choose to make a change, right? You choose over Amy or you choose yourself. So I have a little gift for you all today that I'd like to share with you. You see, I would like to offer you a complimentary strategy session to help you reclaim your voice and step more clearly into your power. Now, it's one of those things that it might be the right time, it might not be the right time. Who knows? But it's my gift to you today based on all the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that I've worked with from around the world. I can guarantee you, I've talked with people who've been in a situation similar to yours, you know? So, if you're ready to step more fully into your power and to elevate your voice, then I'd be happy to help. So I saw this, I'm like, oh, that's really fun. Keep calm and pick up the phone, right? Or you can just fill out the thing on the bottom of your worksheet, right? And fill that out and give it to me at the end, you see? Because if you're ready to have more of what's important in your life, to really earn what you're worth and expand your capacity as a leader, it's just as simple as having a conversation. And one conversation could change everything. So I invite you to do that if that's what's right for you. Now, I'll just leave you with this. When you're bold enough and courageous enough to step into your strengths and your talents and your gifts more fully, then your life will begin to unfold as an expression of your genius. Because your job as a leader is to live your life as an expression of your genius. And when you're brave enough to do that, then you become the leader that people want to follow. Thanks. It's been a pleasure today.